Optic Glass.
All right, gang, welcome back to Death Curse Society, and we are still talking about the new Halloween movie. This section is going to be all about Act 2. So let's get into it. I'm Red Crank, I got Moly Michael, I got the Colonel, and I got Zigzag. Woo! 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 Okay, that's everyone's woos. All right, here we go. And Act 2 starts with the bus crash. You meet a father and son who are driving off into the woods to go hunting. The son doesn't really want to go, but he ends up going. He seems like he's more interested in dancing, whatever that means. One thing I noticed about this, did that father look super old for that kid?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, did somebody owe that actor a favor or something and be like, yeah, I'll throw you in some just shitty role? That was one thing that took me off by surprise. Colonel, talk to us about the scene in the truck that leads to the bus crash.
The scene in the truck, I mean, again, here we are for more comedic relief and an unnecessary starting the plot in the story. I mean, okay, the kids, oh, I want to go dance class. I love hanging out with you, Dad, but dancing's kind of what I'm into right now. I don't want to miss it. Like I said, prior to the bus crash, it really didn't do much for me because I knew these guys were about to die. Based on the trailers, I knew, okay, they're going to come from the bus crash. Shit's going to start hitting the fan.
Well, I didn't think the kid was going to die. I figured the father would get killed and then Michael would drive off in the truck or whatever.
Come across the bus crash. The dad tells the kid, hey, stay in here, call the cops. I'm going to go make sure no one else is hurt. Fast forward a little bit. What's the kid do? He gets the fuck out of the truck. He has his gun. He finds a police officer, cuts all over his face, telling him to run. So, of course, where does he run? He runs towards the fucking bus. The fucking doctor pops up. Don't shoot, don't shoot. Shocking. He got fucking shot. I'm summing up for you people. He freaks out, runs to the fucking truck to get out of there. And what happens? Probably one of my favorite kills in the fucking movie. Vicious-ass Michael Myers pops out of the back seat again, starts bashing his head against the window and breaks his fucking neck. First time we ever seen Michael Myers actually kill a child. I was like, oh, this Michael was great.
Yeah, that was a big switch in Michael's character. Kind of proves that he's vicious and unpredictable in this. Kills a child for the first time in any of the series. Teenagers. Yeah. And he was trying to kill Jamie in like 4 or 5, but luckily Jamie's a badass. Thank you, Daniela Harris, for being such a badass, even at 12. The dancing conversation, though, too much. Again, more forced humor. Fuck you, Danny McBride. What are you doing? Moly, get in here before I get pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Okay, as soon as the movie was done, my nephew, first thing he talks about, man, a scene I really didn't like, that kid in the truck, talking about, oh, he'd really want to go hunting with his dad, but he's really into dance now. He's like, dance? They could have came up with something better than fucking dance? Oh, my God. Oh, okay, so get past that bullshit scene. And the dad did look a little older, but then again, my dad was 50 when I was born, so it looked normal to me. But anyway, we go to the bus crash. Kid goes up there, yeah. Sartain in there, gets shot. Now, see, the first body count I started with would have been the driver. I counted him as a Myers kill because either he died because of what happened there or he was clinging to life and Myers finished him off. I'm assuming that Myers killed him. I don't think I don't know. He could have gotten hurt that bad just from the crash alone, but I don't know. He's counted as 1 for me, is what I put him down at. But then, yes, kid goes back in the car, and I wish it would have done a little more with Myers kind of coming out of the darkness there, but that was great where he was back there. And then, then again, he didn't have the mask on, so I get that. So, boom, he comes out. I'm like, oh, is he just going to knock the kid out, throw him out of the car? No, he's going, he did it. He took him out. Unlike Jason, unlike a lot of these other fucking killers who don't kill the kid, now this really shows what he could have done to Tommy and Lindsay in the original movie. If he would have killed Lori, they could have been next. He was not slowing down. He could have killed them. Because this is directly from the original. So those kids could have been in some hot shit right there. And granted, he likes to stalk the kids. You saw what he did to Tommy in the first one. So maybe he's got to, he don't give a fuck, man. That's pure evil where you can mow down a kid, too. That's some heavy shit. So I thought it was a strong sequence there. Good stuff.
One thing about the kill of the kid is, and this seems to be an reoccurring theme for Michael, he likes to bash your head against something a lot. I mean,
you like the feel.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of it. This is just the first one, but there's a bunch of it. Some that's all he does, and some that he does that to start with and then finishes you off. I thought that was strange. Zag, you got anything to add on this?
Guys pretty got it covered, I mean, for what the scene was. There's a couple of times where some of the random lunatics kind of bump into the glass of the truck to give him a start, But, I mean, yeah, I was a little bit like, okay, this kid will probably get tossed out. When he got killed, I was like, okay, not as kind and gentle of a Michael as we used to have. All right, I like that. Very good. But yeah, about what I expected. I was actually, as we come to find later on, I wonder how much, Mr. Sartain had involved with the escape, the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Helping him out there, but we'll see.
Well, you know what? A lot of people that I've seen or heard talking about this movie have been complaining mostly about Dr. Sartain and what comes later on in the movie in the third act, or the end of the second act, maybe. If that kid had maybe not been so focused on dance and was a better hunter, we wouldn't have had the fucking issue. Sartain would have been dead right there. Fuck you, kid.
You got what you deserved, fucker.
Yep.
All right.
Take your dancing ass over with that maximum overdrive, kid, all right?
Yeah. Dance your ass right
there.
Let me find my zen. For a moment. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so upset. Whew. So on the kill count, there's the kid, the dance kid, and then the dad, I assume, and then the guard or whatever, the bus driver. Does he die? Does that guy die? Because we don't necessarily see him die. We see him say run, and he's hacked the butt.
When he says run, see, I could see him being hurt from the accident, but when he says run, not just because there's a bunch of lunatics there, I think it's because Myers did something to him or is about to or something. I think that's why he says run. I don't think it's just because of the situation. I think it's that Myers is there. Or Myers did cut him or did something to him with some glass or something. So I'm counting that as a Myers kill.
Yeah, I assume that's a Myers kill. So we're already up to 3 now. So, and one last thing, we've had a crash in a previous sequel. All right, just pointing that out. I'm gonna point shit like this out that they stole from every other sequel. Goddamn it!
While ignoring all the other sequels.
Yes.
Right. Oh, we're gonna retcon them, but we're gonna take all the ideas from them. Yeah. Okay. Fuck you. All right. Then we move on to the cemetery, and we see the podcasters walking up with the cemetery caregiver or caretaker. Checking out Judith's gravestone, and of course, Michael's in the background. He's already at the cemetery. Now, granted, it's the next day, but he's at the cemetery. And I love the shot where he's like got his hand up on the tree, and you see his shoulder, and they're lean. You see them in the background. I love that shot. What do we got to add on that? Let's start with Zag here.
Yeah, it was cool. I was hoping the caretaker would have been sharing a little cool story with the wankers as they were walking to the gravestone. That would have been nice. Good scene. Very important to the what we're getting up to here, and well done for those. They get a thumbs up for me for that.
Good. Colonel, what do you got?
The only thing I really like to add to that scene that I really liked, because it was a very good scene in the film, is how they threw the flashback to the Judith kill from the original Halloween. I really liked how they paid a little, actually showed something footage from that first film. I thought that was great.
See, personally, I thought that was unnecessary, Molly, what do you got?
Yeah, seeing him over there by the tree, it kind of, if I was him, I would have kind of been there checking him out, like, all right, well, you're next. But I'm also looking like, man, you know how hard it was to get that tombstone out of the grave in the first movie and move it. Now I got to do it again? Man, fuck that shit. That's kind of, he's like, I'm fucking 61. I ain't moving that tombstone again. So he comes there, checks on his sister, and sees what's going on with them. I wish they would have had some sort of a graveyard scene with Lori visiting, Annie and Linda and Bob. That would have been nice. That would have been more emotional than what we got out of this, because they're just doing their little documentary thing for their podcast. But Lori, visiting her friends, that would have been, a nice touch.
Yeah, you're getting into one of my thoughts here in a second, but you brought one thing up. Why was Michael there? Was he there to get the tombstone again like he did in the original, or was he there to get the mask because he's chasing down the podcasters? Like I said, he felt the magic of the mask, and he's chasing the mask first and then going to go after Lori. That's a question that I don't think we'll ever be able to answer unless maybe a cop.
Yeah, that's like trying to answer why does he even ever take the tombstone to begin with? I mean, he puts it above Annie on a bed. I mean, what's he trying to symbolize there? That's the mystery of Myers. You don't know why he's doing what he's doing. Why did you take the tombstone?
Myers has a flair for the dramatic. He loves those tableaus. He can set a scene with death. He likes that, like Judith the tombstone and Annie in the first one, and even, Bob stuck on the wall, and then, he likes those visual aspects of death. One last thing I'll say about this, and Molly, you kind of already led to it. I know I've said I want to do what I might have done if I was writing this or making this movie. I would have had Lori and the podcasters meet at the cemetery. That's how I would have met. Maybe not have them, be able to get access to her at her house. Have them meet at the cemetery. Lori is visiting, Bob, Annie, and Linda. The podcasters are there getting some information about Judith's grave. They kind of bump into each other, and they say, oh, well, this is Laurie Strode. And the podcasters are like, we've been trying to reach you. And she's like, I know. I'm trying to stay away from you, And they exchanged that stuff there. I thought that would have been a nice touch, and, would have shown, like you said, a little compassion and remembrance for the victims of the original 40 years ago babysitter killers.
That's a huge omission, man. I have to admit. That didn't occur to me, to go ahead and do something with Annie and Linda and Bob. That's huge. Big miss. Whiff.
Yeah, they weren't mentioned at all.
No.
And I know we've already talked about the Dr. Sartain a little bit. I almost consider his inclusion, and especially making him a major character, a slap in the face to Donald Pleasance.
Yes.
Because they joked it up too much. Now, it was clever the way they did it, but it annoyed me, and I thought that was just kind of disrespectful. Next, we go to the hospital, and Dr. Sartain is all laid up since he got shot and was in a bus crash and whatever. Deputy Hawkins is there. We meet him, or we see him again. Let's talk about him for a minute. What'd you guys like? Did you guys like his character? What'd you think of him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't know if you're going to somebody, but yeah, indeed. That actor, he can do good in any fucking role he takes. I mean, he's a damn good actor, and he knocked out of the park, and they fucked up real bad about not making him just a fucking sheriff.
Bingo.
I mean, I'll get into later when maybe it's this scene with the black sheriff. I don't even know his name because his part was not even important. He had no point of being in the movie. He was a stooge that didn't even belong in there.
Sheriff Barker.
Yeah,
Sheriff
Barker. Yeah, we can bark on out of here. Hit the road, Jack. This guy should have been the sheriff. No doubt should have been the sheriff. Exactly. There's no point for the other guy.
Yeah, that was
his character, though.
That was one of my points I was going to make. Why the hell is Hawkins still a deputy since he was one of the first responding deputies 40 years ago? I mean, he's either got no motivation whatsoever, but he doesn't seem like that as the character. And honestly, Sorry, this is America. No small Midwestern Illinois town is going to hire a black sheriff. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen in this America. You know? Colonel, what'd you think of Deputy Hawkins?
I thought Hawkins was a strong character. I like the way they introduced him. You could definitely tell he has a lot of regrets from stopping Loomis from killing Michael 40 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he's like, hey, look at this. Look at the name on the register. And, of course, the sheriff, regardless, the only thing I really had to complain about him was that he's useless. He wore a cowboy hat in Illinois, and then he's like, what we're going to do, cancel Halloween? I mean, he was a useless character. And his name, what did you say, Butner? And it's more like Butt Liquor because that's what I'm going to call him, Sheriff Butt Liquor.
No, Sheriff Barker was his name, but yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, he didn't play enough of the role to even find to learn his character's name. I mean, the actor really didn't even do anything for me either. He was just there.
Yeah, when he says, what are we going to do, cancel Halloween, is that a sly slap in the face to another sequel that they eliminated?
Yeah.
You know? I thought that was just dumb. And the sheriff doesn't want to do his job, doesn't take it seriously. Whatever. All right. Zag, talk to us about this scene.
Yeah, the sheriff, completely forgettable. You could have cut him right out of there. He didn't even need to be in it. He has no value. It doesn't add anything to it. Hawkins, I liked. I like the fact he's the first rookie on scene in 78 to arrest Michael Myers. But you can see now he gets the monster thing, and kill at all cost is his new mission. So that's important. You know what I mean? And I got it. I felt it. It was cool. And even when he kind of, coming up, he stands with Laurie a little bit, you know, and they're united, man. So, I mean, it's on the same mission. But I thought Hawkins, yeah, great. You know, everyone remember the Titans. He's great in that. And just this once again, you know, probably should have just made him the fucking sheriff and been done with it.
Right. I agree. That was just a big missed opportunity. Will Patton is the actor's name, by the way.
I just say there was no need for this other guy to even be the sheriff because his role was so small. He didn't do nothing. He doesn't even get killed. It wasn't to add a body count. Yeah. What was the point of this guy? I mean, they really fucked it.
Deputy Hawkins had been sheriff. Maybe we wouldn't have some of the other foot battery deputies that are on scene later on, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
That was all I was going to add.
Yeah.
Don't start. I'm not ready for that yet. Zag, you made the mention of you think Hawkins is already ready to go and just kill at all costs once he sees Michael's name on the register. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but I think he's looking at it as more of this isn't a coincidence. We need to keep an eye on this. And the sheriff laughing it off kind of pisses him off.
You're right. He sees it on the manifest that he's gone, and I think he has to see a couple of the carnage, a little bit of the carnage before he clicks into kill mode.
Yeah.
You know?
That definitely kicks him off thinking a little more on that.
Yeah, which he does in the next scene. We end up going to the gas station. This is where Michael gets basically really unleashed. You see the podcasters pulling up to get some gas and, you know, relieve themselves, maybe get a couple of snacks for the road. But you also see Michael driving in the background too, which is great. I see the truck come through. I'm like, woo! Yeah, no one notices except that one weird lady in the church van, which I thought was kind of interesting. The gas station scene and the bathroom scene, such good scenes all together. Colonel, take it away from me because I could rant about this scene for a while. Go.
Yeah, I want to try to keep my rant to a minimum as possible. Again, great scene. You know, Michael pulls up, just walks by, no one notices except for the church lady. And what was one of the words painted on the side of their van? Oh yeah, resurrection. The theme I picked up most from the film. And I just like how she kind of looked at Winker Male and was like, look, he's just a fucking nerd, man.
Dumbass.
And then I just love how, you know, Winker Female goes in the bathroom, gets a paper towel, pushing the stall doors open, like, ew, ew, ew. The next thing you know, you hear, thump, 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 just stalking her. Fantastic. And then again, of course, I wish I had my props. I wouldn't have thrown them away. Over the door. Starts ringing trying to open the door like a dumbass. She crawls underneath it. And I know it was on purpose for comedic purposes, but man, I'll be honest, they did make me laugh when she was trying to escape and hit her head on the fucking toilet. Because that was so natural. That's so real. Like, if that shit was really happening, that someone has fucking done it. And then, I mean, we all know the rest of how it goes. Wanker male comes in, gets his head fucking bashed in through the door, thrown to the side. She meets her end. He recovers the mask. And the highlight of that scene is once he puts the mask on, what you hear, that deep breath through the mask. It's like, he's back.
Perfect.
He's fucking back.
Yeah. No, that was a definite chub moment right there. Full chub, not even a half chub. That was a full chub right there.
That was a Viagra chub, man. That shit lasted like 3.5 hours for me.
Damn. Good for you, man.
All position, dude.
That's impressive. One thing, this would be, I think, kills number 6 and 7, or 4 or 5, the cashier and the guy in the shop, and then 6 and 7 for Aaron and Dana, the podcasters. Yep. But did Aaron die? Was Aaron killed? That was kind of left possibly open. He did get bashed in, shoved to the side, and he does kind of collapse at one point, and like it feels like the life leaves his body. But does he die? Do you guys think? Zach?
Could have been a concussion, man. I don't know. I was wondering the exact same thing. You know? They never really showed him. I mean, if that's him, his life leaving him, okay, you know, kind of Bud Doyle-ish. But, yeah, man, you know, I don't really care because they're wankers. But I'm going to go ahead and let's call it a death. Another credit for Michael Myers.
We're going to get boycotted in England if you keep this up, man.
Hey.
Whatever. Molly, what do you think about this? You think Aaron was dead?
What do I think about that, or what do I think about the scene?
Go into the whole scene, too.
I love how he just kind of peeks in there. 1 door, 2 door. Oh, this is where the bitch is. Okay, you got my mask. I know you. It's in your trunk. All right, I'm getting you. Toilet thing was great. And regardless, if dude was still clinging to a little life, he got his head bashed into a fucking wall how many times? His brains are fucked, dude. He's gone. He's out of there. Call it. He either bled to death or, I mean, Myers could have easily just stomped him on his way out. And I love as he's walking to the trunk, you just see, you know, what had happened to the guy who got the teeth. You know, you don't even need to see some of these kills. It's just you see the after effect. Be like, something bad happened here. Holy shit. But him going in the trunk, granted it was daytime, and usually, you know, they don't like to do a whole lot of the shape during the day, but when he put that mask on, whew, yeah, it was straight to Boner Town. It was, and then I like how he even closed the trunk. He was just like,
yeah, and that was a good shot through the back window too. When he closed the trunk, and he's just standing there and just kind of, all right, now what? I mean, it's just a beautiful shot.
Yeah. And then he's probably off to driving the vehicle again. We all know he could drive, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Somebody must have given him lessons. 40 years later, he's only drove a couple times. He still got it down. He still knows how to drive. So, you know, regardless, from start to finish, one of the best scenes of the movie right there for action and suspense and build, everything. Good stuff.
Right. Zach?
When he got out to the car there, because I didn't really talk, you guys nailed the scene. It's painted, man. But he did get out the reunion of that mask. He kind of caressed the chin a little bit before he picked it up and put it on. You know, I mean, powerful shit, man.
Again, Michael's affection for head bashing, Aaron, and I would assume the guy whose head was crushed into the counter and his teeth ripped out. It looked like his head had gotten a pretty good pounding as well. Another thing I want to mention about this is one of those scenes where the trailer kind of ruined it for me. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a little more intense than what the trailer showed, but we knew what was coming. We knew there was some head bashing. We knew the chick was going to try to escape out of the bathroom. She was freaked out and stuck in there. That kind of messed with me. And since I've been talking about them taken from previous sequels, H2O had a bathroom scene pretty similar with the stalking. And even Rob Zombie's Halloween had a bathroom scene that was pretty brutal and similar to this. So there you go.
I am glad they dragged the scene out, though. It wasn't just like he busted in, killed her, killed him. It actually went on a few minutes of struggle, which I like, because it showed that, you know, these people are really trying to, you know, survive here, and, you know, regardless if she bashed her head or not on the toilet, still, you know, she's trying to get away from the situation and not just standing there taking it, and he doesn't just completely destroy them both. You know, he has to put a little work in there to get his kills. So I like that. That actually drew out.
And that's one thing that keeps kind of popping up with a couple other victims is it's not as easy for him anymore. He is 61, 62 maybe, you know. So his coordination, he's still strong as fuck, but his coordination might not quite be there. If their legs are kicking, God damn it, woman, give me the leg, you know. And there's another one that's like that. So I like it. Zag, you had something there.
Just real quick, they also in part 4, the Return of Michael Myers was a cafe / gas station garage kind of same deal. So, I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, how he got the coveralls back. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Same deal.
After the gas station scene and the brutality of that, we see Lori at her house. She finds out the news about the bus crash. We see the basement for the first time, where she goes down. She opens that little kitchen island and goes down into the basement. We see that for the first time, and that's a neat little area. We see Karen's house as well, and Lori shows up there. The back door, when Karen walks in, is already open, and she's kind of freaked out, like, what's going on? And Lori jumps out and scares her, and there's this exchange between Ray and Lori about, hey, give me the gun. And she's like, you back up, you know? Yes, shoot the motherfucker. I don't like him. Talk to us about this scene. Let's start with Colonel on this.
All right. So, yeah, just, I mean, this scene, yeah, it set up the progression of the story. I wasn't too sold on it. I mean, let's be honest. I knew Lori was in Karen's house. She was going to pop up out of somewhere for a little jump scare. And, you know, Karen, all great. Mom lost her shit because she don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Lori does. She's trying to get her family together. We're safer together than we are separate. That's her whole thing. Let me protect my family. Let's all get together. And then, obviously, you know, Ray being fucking Ray. I can handle my own. It's like, what, motherfucker, you couldn't even handle your hairline, you son of a bitch. So...
Nice.
Like, I mean, yeah, it did serve its purpose, but it wasn't like one of my favorite scenes in the film.
Yeah. And what does Ray say in that scene? He's like, I know jujitsu. Yeah, that's going to help you, dumbass. All right. Molly, talk to us about this.
Yeah, another football scene with Ray, and I mean, it just shows, you know, how they're so far apart from Lori and what she's trying to do and keep her family together. And Karen could be so much better if Ray wasn't there, but that's what loses me. I get that Karen was raised with this kind of crazy mom, you know, all this prepping, and I mean, there could be a lot worse shit going on than just having your parent be a, you know, survivalist. I honestly don't even see how that would get your kid taken away, but whatever. Got your kid taken away, and you know, you can't give her at least this day. I know they say it in H2O, just give me this day. I'm giving you 17 years. It's like, yeah, but that's Halloween. This is when it's going to affect the most, you know. Give her this day, you know, at least, you know, I guess she should be in their house fucking around, but, you know, you got to give Lori a little more than that for Karen. I mean, come on now.
Well, the reason I think that Karen was taken away was, I mean, to the extreme that she was a survivalist. And it's, you know, she may not have had the basement built up as much as it was at that point in time when she was raising Karen. And guns may have just been laying everywhere. And, you know, DHS walks in one time and sees, you know, so how many guns do you have on the property? You know, 600. Yeah, we're going to be taking this kid. You know, that's just going to happen, I think. Zag, talk to us about these.
Well, like I said, I wasn't liking Karen as it was already. And Ray, you know, we've already pretty much clearly identified that Ray is a douchebag, and he ain't going to be able to stop nothing, if anything that's going wrong, I mean, shit, I think this guy would have problems changing a fucking tire at this point, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I get what she's doing and what Lori's doing. And again, Karen's turning it, making it about her, and completely granted, I get it. That's how you're brought up. You're traumatized too. This is all you knew. So obviously there's huge resentment here. So, I mean, but I think the scene had to be, she's making her point. And then I like how she said, here, keep the gun, as she's getting forced out of the house, and that was all right. So she's not completely fucking off her rocker. She's trying to help you fucking idiots.
Right. But they refuse it. Yeah, but they refuse it.
Yeah.
I do like that Karen is so spiteful towards Halloween that she wears a Christmas sweater. I do think that's funny. I mean, and it's the weirdest thing, but it stood out very strongly to me when I saw her walk in the scene. I was like, is that bitch really wearing a Christmas sweater? The fuck? Colonel.
Well, what was funny about that is when, Allison was walking with her friends, even her friends like, well, if I was you guys, I'd just celebrate Christmas. I wouldn't even mess around with this scary Halloween shit. And the next thing you know, there's Karen wearing the Christmas sweater. I thought it was great.
Yeah, they said something like, I just put up a tree and celebrate Christmas. Yeah, right. Perfect. Next we go to the cops. Deputy Hawkins shows up at the gas station, finds the brutality that's there, at least 4 dead that I counted. Maybe more, or at least 3 dead. Let's keep Aaron on the iffy table for now. And Lori's there. Lori's there watching. She's heard about this whatever rampage and just shows up, like standing off in the background. And he sees her. I like that. Or Hawkins sees her, I should say. And I like that. So let's. Who hadn't started in a while?
Zag.
Zag?
Yeah.
It's tough to keep track of this shit sometimes.
I know, man. It's a lot going on here. Shit. But
about this.
This is what I mean. I mentioned the reference a little bit earlier. Hawkins, he definitely notices Lori standing there, and it almost hits him like a fucking tidal wave. You can tell. And I think that's probably the point where he's like, okay, I know what we're not having a fucking repeat of 40 years ago. Absolutely not.
Right. And
by any means necessary. So, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like this is like the last little bit of calm right before everything goes off. I mean, I was rooting for Hawkins, and I hate, I hate he goes out like such a punk in this movie,
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yes, we're getting there. We're getting there.
That fucking bullshit. Every time he gets mentioned too, my blood just starts boiling. Colonel, anything to add on the second visit to the gas station with Lori and Hawkins?
The only thing I found really odd, and definitely not protocol at all, I'm sure, is when the sheriff rolls up with Dr. Sartain, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're taking him with him. No, he's a liability. No, he's an asset. You're taking him with him. I think he's in his car and fucking takes off. It's like, seriously? Yeah. This would never fucking happen. They didn't even do that shit with Loomis. Like Loomis showed up in the original. He showed up, talked to Sheriff Brackett. And, of course, Sheriff Brackett's going to take him with him. But he wasn't just dropped off on a deputy like, here, get this guy out of my fucking hair.
Well, but there was still some resistance to dealing with Loomis in the beginning, too.
There was, but Loomis wouldn't go. He was stubborn. He wasn't going to go. This guy was in the fucking hospital. They purposely took him out of the hospital and dropped him off at a crime scene. It was retarded.
Again, another worthless use of having a sheriff and worthless part of Dr. Sartain, which I wish would have been something completely different. But all right, so Molly, what do you got to add about the gas station scene with Hawkins and Lori?
It's time to start taking this fucking serious. And Hawkins is like, well, because you said he doesn't want to repeat. It's like, dude, it's already been double what happened in 40 years ago. So what do you think is going to happen tonight? Time to get the shit together. And, as you soon realize, he apparently was the one who stopped Loomis from executing Myers and arrested Myers. And we'll talk about that as the scene comes. But I mean, it's time as Hawkins is like, all right, Lori's here. This is Myers. It's go time.
We move into a scene that we've already basically seen in the trailer and was also part of Comic-Con's little sneak peek at Halloween a few months ago. We have the big tracking shot where he bumps into the kids, goes down through the kind of alleyway next to a house into a little shed, grabs a hammer, goes in, kills the sandwich lady. She doesn't have a name. I know she's supposed to be kind of an ode to Elrod, but she doesn't have a name in the movie. Actually, I think her credit, I looked up on IMDb or something, said Sandwich Woman. I'm just calling her Sandwich Lady.
Sandwich?
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 He kills this lady, which is a decent scene, I think. I like the whole shot, really. Even though a lot of people call it one tracking shot, it's really two, because once he gets to the shed, it cuts and he's outside. The camera's in the house then, and then he walks in past the window. So it's really two shots, but I'm a stickler for detail. But then he walks past a crying baby, which I thought was interesting, and just disregards it. Now, granted, I'm glad he didn't kill the baby, but I thought it was weird. But then he walks outside and he sees kids just running everywhere, and he stops for a minute watching this lady in a nurse outfit and the doctor who goes in for a second. Oh, I forgot my keys. And you think, oh, nurse is gone. But no, the guy, he just stands there and watches her, and she's watching him. And the guy comes back, oh, you won't believe it, my keys were in my pocket the whole time. I'm like, of course they were, dumbass. And then kids run by him, and then he's like, oh, I'll just go in here and kill this lady. So that brought up a question to me, and I want you guys' fix on this, and there may not be an answer. But what makes Michael choose some over others? And it happens again later on in the movie between two important characters. This, of course, is non-important characters, but what made him choose not to kill the doctor-nurse cosplayers or the kids that run by him or the baby and choose the sandwich lady and the neighbor? Colonel.
That's a good question. I really it's, if I had to put a guess on it, it was all just a guesstimation, is that they're unsuspecting, they're unaware. The nurse pretty much, had eye contact with him. Mm-hmm. They're less of a threat. They're less of a fight. Because, he snuck, the sandwich lady, we can't see it. It's all off camera. But, she's sitting down with a sandwich and a bag of fucking chips and looks up, and there he is. He's bashing her head in with a hammer. The other lady in the house, hell, she was on the phone. She wasn't paying attention to him looking through her window. She was coming back to shut her blinds. He snuck up on her, bashed her head on the table, knife through the throat. Like I said, they were unsuspecting. They weren't going to fight back. It was easy, just like in the wild. A lion is going to tackle a baby wildebeest over an adult. It's an easier kill, less of a fight. And the whole thing with the baby, I wish they would just taken that out, because they showed him a little bit more human than pure evil. Because if he was pure evil, he just would have taken the baby out. But then again, The baby doesn't pose any threat. The baby's not going to fight back. Why kill it? That's my thinking behind it.
But the lady who was just on the phone in the second house he goes into wasn't necessarily posing a threat either.
No, but that goes back to her being an easier kill than the nurse and the doctor. The nurse saw him coming. There was no surprise in that.
So you have a couple of different.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of different reasonings behind it. Okay. Zag, you got anything to theorize on this?
Yeah, I think it's just random, a lot of it. Stalking is a big thing for him. If there's a bunch of trick-or-treaters around there, he can't just walk up and stab a nurse in the face in a car window, you know what I mean? He is about that element of surprise. So I think that's just built into him, and it's like a lion would attack, like he was saying, like Colonel was saying, they're nice laying in the grass kind of shit. So that's what it is for me.
That's kind of the way you mentioned something there. That's kind of the way I see it is I think the nurse and the doctor would have been too public for that point, and it would have just sent shockwaves over the town at that point. We're not quite ready for that yet, but, kind of killing in private. And he's always been kind of a private killer. I can't think of, well, besides Resurrection, where he kind of goes on a multiple people, and even that's near the end of the movie. There's not many times he takes on more than one, maybe two people at a time ever. So that would be my theory. Molly, anything to add on this?
Oh, yes. To answer the question in my way, I would say it's you got to go back to the original and the people he killed and how he killed them. And then you look at this one. So far, the people he's killed, he kind of had a reason for doing it. You know, he had the bus crash scene where he just needed to get a vehicle and get out of there. Needed to get his mask back, so he had to take out a few people there, get coveralls. Now he's trick-or-treating. Now he's doing what he wants to do. Now he's Michael Myers. Now he's full shape, got the mask on. Great tracking scene going in there. And what's also great is how they worked it, because that second shot, when he comes in the house with the hammer, they already have another person who's playing the dead body over there.
Yeah, I would
that way he goes, kills her, she's off screen, that chick just walks away, and then when they cut and you actually see it. Now, why he didn't kill the baby? Well, for one thing, baby killing is probably pretty frowned upon in any type of movie, and you kind of, just because he doesn't kill the baby doesn't humanize him, okay? Because if he kills the baby, it really puts a sour taste, I think, in pretty much anybody's. Really, you're going to kill a baby, Meyer? What's the point of that? Because then you're going to start getting baby killer jokes and all this, all that. There's no point for it. He had no reason to do it. You know, he probably just heard the whining and hardly even gave it any attention. It's like, yeah, whatever, I'm moving on. No threat. He didn't care. That's why it's not because he's not pure evil. He's pure evil. Yet even the devil would know. You leave. The baby has no threat. You know, no point.
For this kind of theorizing, I like the idea that, you know, evil is random, you know?
Yeah.
Bad things happen to good people sometimes. So, you know, you just lucked out, doctor, nurse, sexy-ass nurse. You get to survive at least today, but maybe not tomorrow. So. All right, after that, we go back to the high school party where Allison finds Cameron in a little bit of a compromising situation with this little hot. Was she wearing like a tiger outfit? Something?
Body paint, son.
Right, whatever it was.
Whew. It worked. I'll say that much. Catches Cameron in a compromising situation with a character named Kim, offshoot character. You don't need to know anything else about her.
Nah.
And they get into an argument, Cameron and Allison. Once she sees this, they get into an argument. He takes her phone away from her precious little phone, I think he calls it, and then tosses it in a bowl of pudding, I think. Or I don't know what the substance was, but it plops in there. It's still ringing, and Allison looks pissed. Let's go to Zag on this. Zag, what do you got to talk about on this scene?
First of all, that guy would be catching a power bomb. He'd be going into the pudding as well. Okay, don't fuck around, throw someone's phone in the pudding. Not to mention that, you know, now we've handcuffed one of our heroes. You know, she's cut off from the group and everything. But yeah, the scene was cool. You know, it's the typical high school Halloween prom thing, and you know, Allison walks in at the wrong time and sees the wrong thing, and you know, you got some catty, slutty girl in a tiger costume, and yes, you know, and hey, we're men. Men are men, or men are men. If you do shit like this is what happens, you know? I mean, I make no apologies. But nonetheless, this kid is a douchebag, and he deserves any bullshit that comes his way because of this. But it's a good setup because you had to get her away from him and everything and get her onto the next what we're heading into. So yeah, it worked for me.
Yeah. And you had to get her away from communication. You had to stop that line of communication from, because Lori had already tried to call twice, and I think she was calling the second time when the phone got dumped into the pudding. So, or the mom was at least. Colonel, talk to us about this scene.
All right. Well, there's not much I can add to it. The Zag isn't touched on, but I just got one word for the actress who played Kim. I noticed you like tigers. Notice by that, I like tigers too. If you're watching this episode, look me up. That's what I'm saying. Let's get this party started. I ain't no bitch like Cameron. I just keep going.
He likes winners, though.
Coming from the guy wearing a Lions hat.
That's kind of what I was going to say. She likes winning Tigers, so that might be a tough road to climb there.
Yeah.
But hey, more power to you, sir. You do you. And her if you get a chance. Molly, talk to us about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so, Kern. But this fucking Cameron, though, I mean, he looks like Shitwagon Bill, and he's the one who fucking kissed this bitch over here, and then he chucks her phone in the pudding.
Yeah.
What? And then I'm just kind of looking at Alice, just like, what's she think? It's like, man, I would knock you the fuck out right now. But it's like, you drunk son of a bitch. You fucked me over, and now you're throwing my phone in the pudding?
The only thing I'll add about this scene is if there was anybody in this movie that deserved to die in typical horror movie fashion, it was fucking Cameron. I mean, They set him up perfectly to be kind of like maybe trying to sneak out of the party or something with this Kim chick and both of them getting just hacked to pieces. But you don't see Cameron again. He's gone.
That's what I was thinking after the movie. I'm like, what happened to Cameron? He doesn't even get killed. And now that you mentioned him again, what would have been good is to have a little throwback to Halloween 2 with the Ben Tramer scene. Maybe him put on a mask, walk across the street as they're looking for Myers. Boom! There goes Cameron right out of that motherfucker. He goes flying up, lands on his head. If he comes
back in the sequel, he definitely needs to die real soon. Then we see Lori patrolling the streets searching for Michael. She knows he's somewhere out there. And we catch Michael breathing outside the house that Vicky is watching Julian in right before Dave shows up. And that's where we're at now. Let's talk about that scene. That's where Vicky and Julian have that great exchange. One of the few bits of humor that I kind of liked. It definitely slowed the movie down a little bit and took the tension out, but that was a good spot to do it, I think, especially with some of the scenes that were coming up shortly. Let's talk about that scene for a minute and the whole thing. I mean, going from the comic conversation to the closet scene and the aftermath. So, Molly, let's start with you on this.
All right. So, we go to babysitter and the boy. Now, yes, it was probably the best humor scene in the movie. You know, when I first heard the kids say, "Oh, I know you mean weed." Yes, okay, I did giggle. You know, I was like, all right, okay. You know, and now that I really look back at it, I'm like, it just, it carried on too long. You know, it really just kind of changed the tone of the movie right there. Mm-hmm. To, you know, pretty on the edge of your seat, like, man, you know, you got to watch what the fuck's going on. And now it's like, fucking kids making cracks, you know, and even on his way out, you know, I'll get to the scene, but on his way out, oh, you go up there if you want to, but I'm gone, you know. It's just like, really? Just, you didn't have that look of terror, dude. You should have been like crying, getting the fuck out, you know. You didn't hear fucking Tommy and Lindsay talking that way at the end of the first one. Yeah. So, I mean, they try to, I don't know, it's that, you know, fucking dude's writing, you know, he's got to get his comedy in there. They just put too much in, and I think it slowed the movie down. If it would have been just like maybe 2 cracks about the weed and the fucking browser history or whatever, that would have been fine. But it kind of carried on too long, played out too long. But then when Dave shows up, I like when they're in the kitchen and you can see Myers out there just standing still, and all you see is a white mask, you know, over there in the fucking thing, and it just stayed, you know, it just stayed there, and they, you know, like went about their business. Nobody saw it. That's just a great throwback to the first movie where he's just out there watching, checking shit out. Like when Annie's in the kitchen, you know, and he's just looking around the door, and then whoop, whoop, no, he's gone now. Yep. Great scene. That was one of the top things I like they did with this movie. They put some of them scenes in there. And you got them going upstairs, and you know, I get a little more humor. We always start from the trailer with you know, she goes in there acting like she's talking to somebody the kid saw. And she scares them. And now we all know the closet scene because they you know, it was pounded in our brains with the trailer, and, you know, the payoff could have been so much better if they wouldn't have had it in the trailer. But production value, they had to do it because, you know, they wanted to show, hey, man, it's a pretty big scene here. It's like, yes, but, you know, the art value, you're taking away from the movie there when people know what's coming. It's not even the fact of, is he going to be in there? No, he's already in there. I know what's going to happen. So, yeah, you know, he's toying around with her, pulling her legs. You know, good to see a shot with her looking up at him and kind of tilts his head a little bit. It's a couple stabs, you know. Takes her out. Kid runs away, you know. And then Dave has to try to be a man, even though he's just a chump-ass fucking hipster doofus.
Again, I'll throw in another what would I have done to make that scene flow a little bit better. I think if they had just gotten up off the damn couch and started walking upstairs and had that comedy conversation going up the stairs, it would have been
sitting there clipping toenails and shit. Who the fuck cared?
Now, keep the toenail conversation, you know, but maybe rearrange it briefly, you know, do the toenail jokes first and then go back to the, you know, I know you're bringing weed in the house and, you know, all that stuff. And you used to be my favorite and all that shit. Do that as you're going upstairs, you know, and that way she can kind of like ruffle his head a little bit, you know, hey, scrappy little kid, get up here. You know, that would have made that scene a lot quicker and move the comedy naturally into a horrific scene rather than do all the comedy downstairs and then, oh, you're all tucked in, and then there's a horrific scene. Yeah, they
really should have looked more at like Lori and Tommy in the first movie and those scenes where they're doing dialogue together and be like, see, you know, they're not really doing a whole lot of comedy there. Basically, it's a lot of important dialogue about the boogeyman and, you know, comic books and whatnot, shit like that. But really, there's not a whole lot of comedy going on between Lori and Tommy. This one, that's pretty much all these two were talking about.
So, Colonel, get into this.
Okay, well, you know, I'm going to disagree with Molly on this. I thought it was a great scene to really break the tension in the film. I didn't mind the comedy because we play video games. What do we complain about? Little kids talking exactly just like Julian. That's 40 years later. Times have changed. The babysitter and the kid are going to interact differently. Sure. And honestly, Julian is now my favorite kid from any horror movie. Sorry, Reggie the Reckless, you done been kicked out. That's saying a lot.
Wow.
Julian is the most realistic person I've ever seen in a horror film. When Michael comes out of that closet, 2 words, oh shit, he fucking books it. Any of us would do the same exact thing. Yeah. Another thing I really liked about that scene, to step away from the comedy, was the lighting in his room was perfect. You know, obviously we had the fish tank, the nightlight on the wall. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but one of the figures on the nightlight looked like a clown holding a knife.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, that's a nice subtle touch, a nice little Easter egg. I really dug it.
Yep.
It was a little drawn out, but I think it was a good way to break up the tension. I had no problem with it.
Well, one thing no one's mentioned yet, well, 2 things actually. When Dave does show up in this scene and he's talking to Vicky outside, and I guess they had just gone inside, and he shows the tattoo, and she says, she says, "Oh, you're so gonna get dry fucked tonight." A tattoo get you dry fucked?
I wish.
That's
standards
strange.
are low, man.
That's pretty weak, man. I would have been you. I mean, man, I better be getting some fucking hot anal if I'm getting a tattoo.
Hashtag.
Hold on, let's not go there. But and the other thing I want to bring up is Dave gets so distracted by this motorcycle in the garage outside. What was the point of that? Just to get him out of the house?
Pretty much.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's not like he was even revving the engine when the screaming was going on.
Is it just me, or did anybody else not buy him on a motorcycle at all?
No,
not one bit.
He's a hipster doofus.
I mean, he was already outside on the porch smoking weed.
He needs to be in a van down by the river smoking his doobies.
But then he gets distracted by the garage and goes in there and finds, and it just seemed like a pointless scene to me.
Yeah, it was another pointless scene because he still heard the scream and then went inside. So it didn't really make sense for him to be out there.
So Ziggy, what else do you have to add on this? Anything?
I completely concur with Colonel on this. I did not hate this scene just because I thought it fit. Hey, man, sign of the times, just like he said, 40 years later, these kids are all sassy and snappy now. I have a 6-year-old. He stopped short of telling me to go fuck myself, but it's close. We're getting there. But it worked for me. I dug the whole thing with the interaction was good, and especially at the end, she says, "Hey, you know what? You are my favorite," and he says it too. Right. It's endearing. It's nice. It breaks that tension. But as far as him running out and everything, now we've all seen. What black comedian hasn't talked about in a crisis situation? Black people are running this way. Get away from the shit. While white people are going, "Hey, what's going on over here?"
Yeah.
Why didn't anyone tell me?
It is one of those moments that's kind of self-aware and making fun of itself in a and I hate this word, but in a meta kind of way.
I got it though. It didn't pull me out of the thing. What more was Dave, man? This idiot is sitting on a motorcycle. He can hear. I'm sitting there going like, man, this guy could have ran up the stairs 4 times already to try to help and save her before. Man, she took 2 stabs before he even got on the stairs. Mm-hmm. Too late. As far as the pacing and all that and everything, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it fit very well, and that the comedy was appropriate there.
Right. No, I agree. I think the comedy was good there. I just wish they would have shortened that scene just a little bit to keep the pacing going. That's
what I'm saying, too. I didn't say I didn't like the comedy. The humor was good. The dialogue was good. It was too much, too long. That was my point. I liked it. Kid was funny as hell. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was a great sequence. Too long. It's a Halloween movie. It's a horror movie. Let's get on. Enough with the humor.
Yeah.
A little bit, fine. Not that much.
But at the end of the scene, we all know Vicky and Dave are the 10th and the 11th victims of Michael in this film. So we move on to Hawkins and Lori respond to a call. Both of them have, the police scanners in their vehicles, so they're hearing the call. And Lori shows up about the same time that Hawkins does. Outside, Lori sees Michael at one point, shoots him in the shoulder, I believe it looked like, or maybe high neck area or low neck area, I should say. I thought this was a good scene of Hawkins searching the house. It was tense. He finds Vicky underneath the sheet, which, yes, Molly called that months ago in some of our test shows. Lori sees Michael for the first time in that iconic shot where he's in the upstairs window, shoots through there. Great little point. Let's talk about this. And we can also talk about Sartain arrives and that little exchange between Lori and Sartain there. We can talk about that. Let's start with Colonel on this. Get in there.
All right. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet because, honestly, the trailers told us everything we need to know almost about the scene. It's damn near shot for shot in the trailer. Oh, my gosh. Dave, I love the fact that he got Bob 2018 through the neck. Oh, Chubb. That was fantastic. And then from there on out, like I said, we've already seen it. Then we have Dr. Sartain showing up. She's like, oh, you're the new Loomis, which right there already kind of pissed me off as soon as she said it. Yeah. It's like, no, bitch, he's not. He's a useless character. We don't need him. We have more useless dialogue. Oh, I've been praying for this night every day so I could kill him, blah, 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 blah. Just the aftermath of the kills were the highlight of the scene for me, especially Dave. Oh, that was great.
Yeah. I did like Hawkins' response, though, to Lori saying she wanted to kill Michael, and he was just like, well, that was a stupid idea, and then walks off. I did like that. That was pretty funny.
Right, so I could kill him. Well, that was stupid.
Yeah. That was good. I'm not a fan. I get the little inside joke of, oh, you're the new Loomis. I get it, but God damn it. Again, this whole Sartain character just seemed like a slap in the face to Donald Pleasance, and I don't like that at all. I did also like one thing. I like the fact that Hawkins and Lori, when they do bump into each other, and Lori almost fucking shoots him, I did like the fact that they know each other. They remember each other from, 40 years ago or even like throughout the time that she's still lived in Haddonfield. And she's like, God damn it, Frank, or whatever it is. I love that. So, Zag, get into this.
You know, it does suck that the trailer did spoil so goddamn much of this thing, you know? I mean, because it does limit, you know, it's just, it is what it is. You already know. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you already know.
Yeah.
But this is cool because you see, like, Brackett never really believed it. He as the officer, you know, he wasn't, he's, in his mind, he's like, yeah, these people are just scared and they don't really know what we're dealing with here. And this can't be what they're saying what it is. This guy's all about it, man. You know, now that he sees already what he saw, it's a seek and destroy mission. And I was kind of like, wow, I'm looking at the two of them going, it's not looking good for old Mikey here this time. It played well together. Will Patton, you know,
he's always good.
He's just doesn't matter, you know? And it's believable. You forget it's him. You know, I love actors that can do that. So I mean, again, sorry, trailer fucked it up, but it was you know, the little extras they put in there were definitely cool.
Yeah. Molly.
After the fact of Laurie shooting up the window, I love what he says when he sees Michael go down the stairs. Michael! You know, he knows who it is, and he knows it's like, oh, high alert, it's go time. The way he just reacted to the situation was like, fuck yeah, this guy knows what's going on. It proved right there, you know, he's not fucking around. He knows this guy means business. Michael Myers is not here to play games. And the biggest thing to me about that scene, above anything else, is the fact that Nick Castle had his only scene, and it's the first time Laurie sees the shape since 40 years ago. And the first time she sees him looking up the window, what does he do? He tilts his head in acknowledgement because it's the original shape looking at the original Laurie. It was a beautiful moment when you actually think that that's really Nick Castle now, because that's his scene. I mean, it's already been confirmed, and that was the scene I said a while ago was going to be his scene because of his selfie he had.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing about that's one of my favorite things about the movie right there was them two connecting right there. It's like, bam, and he's just like, no, not today, honey. But nice to see you after 40 years. Suck a dick.
Yeah, that was a nice shot and nice scene and nice little interaction between the two of them. The other thing I liked that you mentioned was I liked as soon as Michael did see Laurie, he darts to get down those stairs.
He knows he's got to go.
Yeah, that's probably some of the fastest we see him move in that movie is when he goes past that door with the cop. And I like that a lot.
He's still walking outside, but he's moving with haste.
Right.
He's like, I got to go.
So next, we have a lot going on. Everybody, basically all the major characters involved have got some stuff going on. Oscar and Allison are walking home from the school party. Of course, Allison's pissed. Oscar's trying to console her, if you know what I mean.
Your wife interested in photography, eh? Photographs, eh? He asked him knowingly.
Photography?
Yeah. Snap, snap, grin, grin, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more.
We'll get into that in a second. Hawken and Sartain are now driving around because the sheriff brought Sartain to the scene of a crime and stuck him on the deputy, which seemed pretty damn stupid to me. But, hey, he is the expert, I guess. Hawkins and Sartain are driving around. They discuss Michael a little bit more. We have at Karen's house. Laurie, Karen, and Ray are trying to get all the Strode family together. They're looking for Allison. They can't track her down. And then we have Oscar and Allison have this nice little shortcut scene where they try to jump through a couple of neighbors' yards, and Oscar pulls some bullshit. So let's talk about that. Before Oscar meets his demise, but let's not talk about that yet because that scene needs its own little discussion. But let's talk about those four little chunks right there, everybody. Molly, talk to us about this.
All right, well, so they're walking back, and, you know, Oscar, you know, trying to be the good friend and, you know, explaining, you know, and she realizes that, you know, fucking her so-called boyfriend, whatever, drunk, and he's being an ass, but it doesn't sound like she's completely done with him, honestly. I mean, she's pretty pissed, but it doesn't sound like he becomes an asshole when he's drunk. Well, who doesn't? But, you know, a little dialogue's all right. Then we move on to the car sequence where, you know, a Sartain shows up and gets dumped on fucking Hawken. Now, that car sequence there, I think that's some of the best dialogue between them two and with Sartain, because you kind of get a feel of, you know, he knows about Michael, you know, and it's good that you have that Loomis Loomis-esque character in this movie because, you know, he doesn't build him up the way. I mean, Loomis already set Myers up perfectly in the first movie. You can't beat that or even try to get even close to that. But this guy, you know, he does what he can to be a kind of obsessed doctor with Michael Myers, because I don't know how you couldn't be obsessed with a guy that does not talk and won't give you any kind of emotion, nothing. You just, what the fuck, man, give me something. You don't know what's wrong with him. You have no medical reason for why he's acting this way and why he kills people. So they're trying to figure all their shit out, and, you know, great dialogue there. And then we go back to Oscar, you know, and he has to go and become a fucking dick and, ooh, let me get a little bit. Oh, it's not like that. Oh, I was kidding. I wasn't saw it. Didn't recall.
Right.
You know. Come on now, Chubbs, or I don't know what Colonel called him. What'd you call him? The mask guy. You know. Yeah, you need to step off. Sweet honey, Allison don't want none of that. All right, you can take your drunk ass with your like 3-4 warm beers you got in your pocket. And, you know, go take your shortcut and see how that works out for you, buddy.
Yeah, I thought that was weird that he had 3 or 4 beers in his pocket, and you know, he's not a pro like I was back in the day. I had those little frozen ice packs in my pocket as well. My pockets were lined with like Ziploc bags, and you know, you had those in there to keep the beers cold. Learn your shit, high schoolers.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip in your house. Another thing, I agree with you, Molly, there. The Sartain scene with Hawkins was probably, in my opinion, the only scene in the entire movie where Dr. Sartain was actually useful to the story, in my opinion. He had, the thing I liked about it was he wasn't just analyzing Michael, he was analyzing Laurie as well, and that was a nice little twist. So, Colonel, talk to us about this scene, this area.
Well, this area of the film, I agree completely with Molly about the Higgins and Sartain. What the fuck? I fucked up his name. Who cares?
Hawkins
and what? Fucking, they're both dead. Anyway, so
Not yet.
So not yet. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. It was a great scene. I agree with you guys completely about how they set it up. And something always told me that Rocky Dennis, that motherfucker, was a snake in the grass. He was just waiting for his time. He thought he had the time to strike, but he's not a predator. He's the prey. He got shot the fuck down later on when we talk about this, but I was just waiting for him to say, touch my face. Touch my face.
Oh, my.
I fall in love with him.
Oh, my. Here we go.
Colonel's making more references to the movie Mask with Cher and Eric Stoltz that he thinks Oscar looks like him, in case you didn't see the first episode of this.
There's no thinking about it. That is fucking Rocky Dennis.
I will say this. In Mask, Rocky Dennis did grift his good best friend Ben out of a very valuable baseball card in the movie. So there you go.
Very true.
Yeah, he's a shifty motherfucker too. Don't get him wrong.
Yeah.
Zag, talk to us about the Rocky Dennis and Allison and all this scene.
I think you guys got the walking with the douchebag and, you know, the traditional fat guy misreading the signals from a pissed off girl of someone else. You know what I mean? And does what he does. You deserve better, as you know. And I'm smelling like bologna and Fritos or something. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
Little bologna stank. Definitely bologna stank.
Oh, yeah,
man.
I still like bologna on white bread now and then.
The Sartain and Hawkins thing was a bit, you guys are right. You know, this is the first time we're starting to see that this guy's lost his way, and he is needing a response from Michael Myers by any means necessary, even if it means putting people in harm's way. Don't really know to what degree at this point yet, but he's adamant that he does not want Michael Myers killed. So you're starting to see where this guy's brain is at. That's where I took out of it. And you're right. This is probably the only scene that he was useful at all. At all.
Agree. I can't agree more. Let's move on to what happens to Oscar, which is one of the better, I think, kill sequences in the movie. Allison gets pissed off. As the guys kind of alluded to, basically there's a little Me Too thing going on. Oscar tries to kiss Allison when he helps her get over a fence into a neighbor's yard. And the yard happens to be someone named Elrod's yard, I guess, if you guys didn't catch that. I'm sure you did. But as soon as she gets down to the ground, he makes a move on her, tries to kiss her, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you could deserve better." And she's like, "Yeah, but not you," and pushes him away. Good little scene, relevant for the time, that we're in right now. Nice little touch. She storms off, gets the hell out of there, flipping him off the whole way once she gets over another fence on her own. And he's stuck in the backyard with a friend. Maybe. Someone's in the darkness. Colonel, tell us all about that scene.
Oh my gosh, this is probably one of the better kill scenes in the movie. Obviously, we'll set it up. Crank set it up perfectly. Obviously, Rocky Dennis is saying, "I'm sorry, Mr. Elrod. Man, these girls don't blah, 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 blah." And then the motion sensor lights, cut dark.
Yeah.
Boom, cut back on. Michael's a little bit closer. Cut back off. A little bit closer. Cut off. And then, bam, once they come on, Michael strikes. Rocky Dennis takes off running, screaming for help. His little devil cape is caught on the gate. It's literally like the only part, I'm like, he's fat enough where he just pull himself up and it would rip. Like, this is the only part I had an issue with, of all things. And then Michael proceeds to get him. All the gurgling sound effects they used, fantastic. And then while we don't see it, Allison comes running back because he's screaming for help. And Michael Myers, being the equal opportunity killer that he is, he does not discriminate. Rocky Dennis is stuck with iron rod through his chin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Best kill in the whole movie.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they had to edit some of these kills out to get an R rating. And that once we get a Blu-ray release here in 6 months or whatever, that there will be some deleted scenes, including some of these kills, because I bet like that one and whatever happened to the people at the gas station, I bet some of these kills are just glorious to see. If they even filmed them. I hope they did. To me, this sequence with the lights going off and on and Michael getting closer, to me, this sequence seems the most based in the original Halloween's essence, especially of a kill. You get Michael, and he's just standing there. He's just, not doing anything, not moving at all. The lights go out, and then he, like you said, he's a little bit closer. And there's such a smooth scene. And I like the one line that Oscar says, where he says something along the lines of, "Yeah, this pretty girl, she got away. Hey, Mr. Elrod, do you know anything about that? Have you ever had a pretty girl get away from you?"
Yeah.
But he's asking Michael Myers.
You got it, yeah.
That was such a good spot. Yeah, Molly, jump in here.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's pretty much the only thing outside of what Colonel said I was even going to get to was that line right there. It's like, you know who you're talking to over here? I ever had a pretty girl get away from me? You better shut up, boy. I had to wait 40 years to go after mine again. Motherfucker. You fucking just fucked up 2 seconds ago. You fucking still got time, but now your time ran out. Yeah, it's definitely one of the best scenes in the whole fucking movie. Probably one of the top 3, honestly. Great Michael Myers, the Shape style scene right there. Good stuff.
Yep. Totally agree. Zag, anything to add on this?
It's pretty much they got it, man. But you're right. This was the only time I think in the whole movie where I really felt, they took an original idea, based it in the originality from the first one's style, and it really paid off. It really, really worked, And I was rooting against Fat Boy. I wanted him to go down. I didn't feel bad at all when they got him, So I mean, it's just great all the way around. So I mean, it had a great payoff, and I was almost like, yes. When they got him, he's not even a bad dude. He's just a stupid fat guy.
Yeah.
The scene was great, man.
He went from the friend zone to the dead zone. So more bastard.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Christopher Walken, you ain't.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
All right. After this, we see Allison sees Michael for the first time and finally gets it in her head that, holy shit, grandmother is right. And the chase is on. The chase is on, ladies and gentlemen. Then Hawkins finds Allison, tries to get her into safety. And that's basically the end, pretty close to the end of Act 2. Anything to talk about with Allison seeing Michael, Colonel?
Not really. Other than what you already touched on, is that it was nice there for her. Like, you see reality really set in her face. Like, oh shit. As in, where's my man Julian? Oh shit.
Right.
This is real. Like I said, but you touched on it perfectly.
Yeah, and it was a nice moment for Andi Matichak as an actress, too. Just, she played it very well, you know, because she sees Oscar speared on the fence, and then Michael just kind of walks out from the side, and boom, and it finally hits her. Zag, anything to add on that?
Very much reminded me of the face Jamie Lee Curtis made in H2O when she looks in that round port in the door. That's what it reminded me of a lot. And exactly, she's like, oh my God, she's right. This is happening, you know? Same kind of face, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, that was the first time that Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers or Laurie and Michael came face to face in H2O, and it was a good moment there for her. I do remember that. Molly, anything?
Not really, besides what you guys said. I mean, great moment there where Allison realizes that she's dealing with the shape. Her grandma's not nuts. She was right to believe her, and, you know, now you better get the fuck out of town because shape doesn't play games, and you're about to find out why.
No, not at all. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for Act 2. Thanks for watching. Get ready for Act 3 and then some final thoughts tomorrow right here on YouTube. I'm Red Crank. That's Molly Michael. That's the Colonel. And that's Zigzag saying, DCS out!
They curse, baby!
Yes, out. I'm sorry. She was a really pretty girl.